Hello, everybody. Me and Patricia. Patricia and I, correct English. Poor Patricia. She was just talking to me, and I've grabbed her and shoved her on a hangout now. Patricia, when we were going through stuff, we actually thought that maybe we'd found somewhere that was going to give us more information, and you very kindly paid for that. What's it called again? I've forgotten now.
Truth Finder.
Yeah, you very nicely paid for it, but it didn't sort everything out, did it?
No, too much filtering in there. You don't know
No,
who you're getting.
not just that. Basically, I think obviously in America things are different, aren't they? For a start, but there is no big database of birth certificates and stuff like that, is there? That's what we've realised through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was saying about America. Say if I picked a state, or whatever they call, I don't know, Iowa. There's hardly any birth indexes. There's marriages and there's deaths, but births, and I've picked a few different states. Illinois, there's no births for that particular person, and it's just like they say they've got the biggest database, but how come? I mean, if I had family in them states or any other state that I haven't checked, but like, how would I ever find my ancestors? So it's not as big as they say it is. And then also when I went on, because I'm looking from UK and I should still be able to find them, but I thought, hang on, I'll check the actual ancestry.com because I always thought it was all joined, but it's not. I'm on ancestry.co.uk. So I went to click on the American one, and for some reason it wouldn't let me on it. It would like the page gone from, because you have to click a little it at the bottom on the right hand side it says view our sister sites. So I clicked on it and I clicked America, well, United States, and I clicked on that, and as soon as the page got up for me to click go to the site, it disappeared. It took me back to England, UK, sorry. And I'm like, eh? And I tried it 4 or 5 times, so I thought, because it could have just been a glitch or something, or I weren't quick enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
I think my point to all this is that, you know how they, for the last, well, as far as back as we can remember, they've completely terrorized us with all this technology and everything they've got. It can't be true. They're not really ruling us the way that they're telling us. They cannot. So basically, this is probably why they're having to put fluoride in the water and make sure they're on antidepressant pills, because that just numbs down your feelings. So they're making sure through all these external things, and obviously the programming, the subliminal messages, all that kind of stuff, they're doing it that way. And there is no big rule on us. So, do you know what I mean? Like if the people decided to take over, they probably could.
Well, yeah, because they don't want us to, to realise these things so that we can actually, it's about getting our power back.
You can't even get the birth certificates. There is no big database of birth certificates. There is no big database of information. I don't know how the police ever get all this information. And obviously, it's all fabricated, isn't it? Then on these big cases, but there's no big connection, is there? Like, you'd think, wouldn't you? We're supposed to be 2019, but there is. In fact, what I was saying to someone the other day, Patricia, was that, in those days, say, I don't know, 1700s, whatever, they used to write it down and they'd say, this person built this house and these people were living here, and you've got more information coming from there. That's probably more correct than what we get today with all the computers.
Yeah, I mean, the other strange thing as well was there was no census.
Yeah, 2000, what do you mean?
No, we're still on 2011.
What do you mean then? Explain.
Census records. You know, when I think we've stopped doing it now. We're more on the electoral roll, but there used to be every 10 years a census, and we used to fill in the you know, who was in the household, how old they were at the next you know, that birthday, and all that sort of information.
Patricia, 2 seconds. Is that what the council tax has done for us in the UK? Because every year the council write to me and say, "Yeah, how many people are living in your house?" Is that how they've changed it over to the council tax for us? So they get all the information via people's council tax. It's the same information like a census, but they're getting it via the
Oh,
council tax. Anyway, carry on.
it's I think they do it by electoral roll to do that these days, because they don't need to know people that live on, you know, that are under 3-year-old or 12-year-old. They're not really bothered about that, so they don't, for their information.
I think you have to put everybody. You have to put everybody that's living in the household, no matter their ages.
Well, that's what the census did, but I think I'm sure we're due a census this year. I don't know. They're every 10 years, but I know I haven't had one for years, more than 10 years.
Well,
So,
I filled out my council tax thing the other day, and it had to put down, was there anybody else living in your household and all this stuff. So I have, and if you don't fill this in it properly, it affects your voting. Now I'm not going to vote again, but I just didn't want the trouble. You know, like I am living here, I do pay my council tax, so I sent the frigging thing back, but I'm not voting. But it's a way of, that's how they keep hold of what's happening with people. It's the councils, so they must put it in a big data system, mustn't they? But what it was is the whole point of this was you thought through ancestry.com or this company that'd be correct information, but we're not sure anymore now how much of it's correct, and there is no big database of birth certificates and stuff like that, is there? And you know, like ancestry.com. Sorry, carry on, Patricia.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm no expert, but you know, you'd think with how many billion people there is, they'd have a bigger database, because all the records are there whether we want them to be there or not. Do you know what I mean? That every time somebody's born, you get your date of birth. It goes in a register. You know, when they die, when they get married, it's all in a register. So how come the largest database apparently hasn't got all that information? I know things take time, because obviously a baby born yesterday will take, I don't know, a few years, but I'm sure they do it electronically. It's not like somebody goes round and collects all the registers and then goes home and, well, goes to office and inputs all the data in. You know, it's not like that anymore. So it should be quicker, if not instant. I don't know how it works. I don't work in a registry office at all, but you think with the, like you said, with the technology, how it's forever taking, you know, it's taking forever, I mean, to get this information. And I mean, I just hope that I don't have any American ancestors, because I'd never find them. You know, and I'm sure people in America probably have the same problem, but
What we think is supposed to be set up so we can help us find the people is a whole system set up so it's really difficult to find anybody, basically.
well, especially in another country. I mean, I said to you before about I've got ancestors from Ireland. You know, am I all right? I'm struggling because it just says Ireland on the any information, the census, or mainly the census, and it's like, well, which part of Ireland? Because Ireland's in 2 parts. So if I wanted to go find a birth certificate, I'd have to ring up both registry offices, because there's one in Dublin and somewhere else, I don't know where it is, but in the south of Ireland, just and pay money just to find out if there actually is any records in that area for my ancestors. And then I'd have to ring the other one if obviously if they weren't there. I'd have to ring the other one. And there's no guarantee, because apparently all the records were burnt.
Do you know what it
No,
sounds like, Patricia? It sounds like our system that you're in, like, you know, when you're in the system here and you're like you said, you tried to find out about your ramps, and then you've got to go to the council, then you've got to go to the people who own the house. It's just a whole, nothing connects properly. There's not one place that's sort of, it's all over the place, and then you've got to do masses and masses and masses of homework to maybe find things.
Yeah, I mean, it's you, like you said, with the technology, you'd think it'd be a lot easier, you know. And I know people, you know, like this DNA thing that Ancestry does. People are like, oh, I don't want to put my DNA on there, because they'll have a record of that. So that's another way of tracing you, sort of thing. But with that technology, they can't even have all the records of everyone that was born in any country. Because I mean, I haven't looked up Poland, but you can do Poland. Don't know what their records are like, but it just seems weird. Well, not weird, but it's like, I'm lucky that I got my ancestors on my dad's side.
So basically, when you tried to use a system that's been set up for what you think's been set up, when you actually try and use it, it's the same problem that you're having when you try to use the system when you go to the council over this, or you go to benefits over that. It's the same system actually for all the ancestry stuff. It's all the same. There is no big connection anywhere. It's all just all over the place. And so if you do find stuff about your family, then you're lucky.
Yeah, I'd like someone to actually try and look up me from another country, maybe America, because I think that's, you know, well, I was going to say it's probably got the biggest database, but it's not looking that way. You know, if somebody wants to look up me, you know, when I was born and that sort of stuff, see how much information they can get from the other side, and not the spooky other side, but the, you know, see how much information is actually filtered just to your country. And you might get a few, but then when you actually go into it and look into it and you think, well, these people are alive, or not that alive, these people existed because they're my ancestors. So why can't I find any information? You know, might find a marriage. Then you get a marriage certificate, but the information on that does not give you a lot. The death certificate will give you their last address, but it doesn't necessarily tell you who their mum and dad were. Birth certificates tell you who your mum and dad, who the mum and dad were. You know, each certificate.
What you're thinking is that this whole database that's set up would mean that you'd be able to go there and go, oh, well, I've got some relatives in America. Oh, let's go to Ancestry, or whatever it is, all that thing you've paid for, and you go there, and actually, you can't. It doesn't work.
I mean, you need the basic information to actually find. You know, what makes me laugh about Ancestry? It'll say the more information you put in, the finer the results. And I put like every single thing in there, and it still doesn't come up with them. And you're like, well, that worked, didn't it? You know. But if you've only got,
paid for it, you paid for it as well. So, you know, if you don't pay for it, you get a minimum amount of information. And then that means that anybody can put any information in these things, and then none of it adds up, which is what we're finding. That's why you can find Shanann King, Shanann Watts, all that, because it doesn't matter. It's never going to go anywhere or match up properly, just as long as it's written somewhere. And someone, oh, look, there's some information. But someone's obviously, they're just putting this in. Anybody can put this information on anywhere. That's what I'm saying. To make more information that doesn't exist. That's what I'm saying. Do you get what?
Yeah, because you need to have the validation. So you have to have the. Well, you don't have to put validation, but if you find their records, obviously you would put it outside of the information to make sure, well, so that when people look at it, they go, oh yeah, then I can go find the birth certificate and find the index number and order the certificate. I mean, obviously people can take dead people's names and use them as fraud and stuff. So, you know, there is that side of it. But if it's your family history, you're not going to just take anybody's name and get a certificate and make yourself be that person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is anybody can put any information on. You're never going to find it because there's no end and no beginning. So the information will be there, but that's what we're struggling with. Even this case, There's no beginning and there's no end. And I just put one out yesterday. I told you, Nicole Atkinson, 9 o'clock, calling the welfare, but actually it's never mentioned again, even though it's mentioned on the discovery document. And she doesn't mention it, the police officer doesn't mention it. And when she went in for her interview, it was a week or two later, so that information should have been right in front of that officer. If he was doing his job properly, he'd know that she called in. It's on the discovery document, so anybody can add anything they want, wherever they want. It doesn't mean it's real. That's my point.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing, really. Especially if you're looking into things and you're just not finding the information. I mean, Shanann's date of birth's all over the place, but can you actually find the certificate, the index number? No. But like I said,
Yeah, I mean,
the
I understand
information.
that maybe some of it is that it's not that you just want to see the index number. It's not actually having the birth certificate necessarily. It's actually seeing that there was an index of someone's birth certificate. There's no index for even that.
No.
Anyway, just right now, we've added Amy, and of course, Amy's from America. Hello, Amy. Amy's with Patricia
Yes,
and me.
hello, Karen. Hello, Patricia.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Patricia.
What it is that Patricia had this bit of information, and then I just thought about, because obviously I did a hangout yesterday with someone else and they were in a car on the phone and it was a bit tinny, so I put it to a hangout and then you started messaging me, so I just sent you the link. But anyway, what we've been discussing is that with this whole thing where we think we've got technology and information, and that site, you know, the site, what's it called again? Sorry, the site both of us went to and Patricia paid for. What was it, Patricia?
Truth Finder.
Right, with Truefinder and the fact that Patricia can
Yes.
go to ancestry.com. Patricia, explain to Amy what you did or didn't find.
Well, with Ancestry, it was more of like, they say it's the biggest database, but there's certain states, I mean, I haven't checked all states because I don't have any names to check, but there's no information. It might be odd death certificate or even a marriage certificate, but there's no birth certificate.
Oh, that's very strange. Yes.
So what we're saying is everybody thinks that we're in this technology and there's masses of information and there's data and this. There isn't.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
So anybody can
my.
have that information anywhere because you can't go and find it anywhere. So I could say that such and such existed. I could put a date of birth. I could say they lived there, but that doesn't mean it's real.
That's right. Well, it's terrible. And I think that's what they did with this case is made, just were able to make a lot of this stuff up and put it out there. But when I put my own self in, it has a lot of correct information. Not my birth certificate. I'm just talking about the Truth Finder, or whatever Patricia just said. If I put it in, it does give like my maiden name, and then it'll put all the places I've lived and phone numbers. Now, they don't have my phone number updated. It's an old phone number. But so a lot of it is true that's out there in me. But I think they can also make it up about people as well. And then they'll put that you're connected to all these different people, and they can go into like oh wow, even like my ex-husband, I'll be listed as related to all of his current wife's family, and then there'll be names I don't even recognize, so I don't even know how they're doing it or anything.
Yeah, the thing, Amy, is you know your information. You're just verifying it on that site, aren't you? Whereas when you go in and you're just looking for, I'm not having a go about, I'm just saying you know what you're looking for. You know your previous address and that. If you're looking for someone who you don't know much about, there's so much. You have to filter out, and if you don't, I don't know.
I know what you're saying, Patricia. Yes.
And you'd
Yeah,
think it's on True Finder, it's, well, I suppose on Ancestry as well, it's like variations of a name. It's like
yes,
the name they were born with isn't necessarily the name they go by now.
that's
So you could
right.
be looking for a Marie Shankill, but her real name's, I mean, I had that with one of my ancestries on a census. She was called Bridget Gertrude, but I didn't know it was Gertrude. But on this one census, it come up Gertrude, and I'm like, oh, maybe she's got a twin sister because
Oh,
she was the same age. But in that
uh-huh.
census, she was using a middle name. So,
Right.
I know that it's just fine tuning everything, but you don't know a lot of
Yes,
information,
that's
and they'll
right.
say put more information in to refine your search. But if you don't know that information, you're just gonna come up with 10,000 names of a similar
I
name,
know.
and it's I can understand that, but then on the other side, we're not even getting some of the information that would be a basic, like the birth
Exactly.
certificate.
Exactly. That's right. So, have you still been trying to find birth certificates, Patricia, for different
Well,
people?
I did. I spent hours
I
spent
know.
looking at one name and you know putting it as a broad search, exact search, in between, and there was nothing. I couldn't find anything. Not anywhere where she was supposed to be born. Nothing.
Well, and you put
I
all
found
the
the marriage.
different.
I found the marriage certificate,
Yes, you found
and
that.
It's strange that I can't even find the death certificate.
I
Do you know what I mean? So it's
know.
like it's just.
I know.
And the
Yeah.
whole point is that some people like put comments, didn't they, about, well, in America they don't just give out birth certificates. It's not that. I mean, maybe
Right.
I don't know if they put the index number there and they don't put all the number there, so you can't go and get the birth certificate. But there isn't even an index number. There's no indexes
Right.
of anything. And Patricia was
Yes.
somebody that put stuff on Ancestry in England, and they'd always have these numbers. There is nothing.
Mm-hmm. Oh well.
It's not that you need to
Well.
see the birth certificate if it's private, like if they want to keep it private.
Right.
But there's
Right.
nothing anything registered to say there was a birth certificate, or there's nothing there. There's no register.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I put in to find about the birth and death certificates, and it said no birth certificate, no death certificate, but it said one marriage certificate, I believe. Is that what you saw, Patricia, where it just said like one marriage certificate?
Yeah,
When
just.
yeah, that's what. But why would it say no birth certificate, no death certificate? That just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, the thing with Shanann is, in the first place, we don't really know what name she was born with. So we're going on the Shanann Rusak, what,
Yeah,
um, and until we actually know what her maiden name is, we're not really going to find it. But
right. Well, I found
it would,
a while ago, I found in one of the videos that they put out about Shanann, little pictures of her when she was a child, and they had a little clipping from a local newspaper, and she had drawn a little picture like of a tree and a sun, just very childlike, and they put when there it said drawn by Shanann, spelled exactly how that Shanann, Rushek, daughter of Sandy and Frank Rushek. And I have a screenshot of it because I can't find the videos anymore. So the date when it was 1993. So they say she was born in 84. So that means she would have been 9. And so if she was 9 years old and they've got her listed in this little local newspaper as Shanann Rushek, then that is what they are telling us is her given name at birth and what she went by and everything. Do you know what I mean? Because some people say that she was, because how her dad calls her Shannon all the time. He doesn't say Shanann, he says Shannon. And some people in the narrative, they say, well, she wanted to make it sound fancier, so she changed it herself. But then how come in that newspaper from 1993, it's spelled out Shanann? Like, it's like that is
It's
what they
strange when
named
your dad
her.
doesn't remember your name, isn't it?
I know. That's one of the first things that I caught when I was listening to the sentence hearing, because I thought, why is he saying Shannon? And then, people question it when you read the different comments, and they say, like, well, that was her birth name, but so maybe the parents can't get used to calling her, this new name that she made up for herself. But when you
She does have a list of names, doesn't she? It's not
she
just one
does.
name. There's a list
Yeah,
of
oh, she has
names.
so, I never saw so many aliases in my life. That's one thing. When I put in, just to test it, put in people like myself and people I know, it doesn't have a million different aliases like that. It just maybe their maiden name, but she goes by all kind of things. Of course, it all goes back to King. When we were looking at it before, it always
And
goes
have you
back to
noticed
King.
my latest videos? That's what I've started to put, because I just
I
have.
noticed that, yes.
I don't know whether you've seen my latest one from yesterday, Amy, with the fact that it was somebody put it in the comments. Look, look,
Yes,
look. And the fact that there's this 9 a.m. mention of Nicole Atkinson calling the welfare for a welfare check at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it's never mentioned again.
exactly. That's right. I did watch that video. I just
So thank you
watched it.
very much for the person that put that in there. And they put a comment, I love your channel. But the thing is, they found the information. So thanks very much. And then, of course, I went to the interview and I listened to that bit where Chris Watts is saying 10 past 12. And the thing is that if she had gone there earlier in the day, he'd have said all day long, my phone was showing that she was going to the house and it was setting the sensors off. He doesn't say that. He just says 10 past 12. So this person who's supposed to be
Right,
dead worried about her friend didn't even go there till 12 o'clock.
exactly.
And she didn't actually call the welfare officers till 1:30. So what's the 9 o'clock in the morning one?
I think they made a mistake when they were writing the whole narrative, and they used East Coast time, is what I was kind of thinking, because East Coast would have been 9 o'clock, whereas she was in Colorado, so that was 12 o'clock. But I think when they were writing the narrative, maybe they screwed up, or put the red herring clue in there, or whatever they do, and put the 9 o'clock
But it
business.
shouldn't make any difference. Colorado would be
Exact,
writing in their time zone, not in New York
exact,
time zone or the United
right.
Kingdom, like that, would they? The UK. So,
Yeah,
mm.
that's what I'm saying. I'm
And anyway, it doesn't
thinking
match up because it was 9 o'clock, but she actually
exact,
rang at 1:30. So there's a half.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, even though, of course, it shouldn't matter, but like, say they just were, whoever has made all this up, say they just accidentally went by East Coast time, because that's where it gets confusing too, because there was, for a while, they were saying that somebody called to see if the girls had gone to daycare. I think it was supposed to be Sandy, but like, she was on the East Coast, so like everything it's confusing, because if they go to daycare, say 8:30, well then it'd already be oh, now I'm confused. It'd be they're
2
behind
hours or
us.
an hour or
Yeah,
two.
three
Yeah,
hours
2 hours
difference.
ahead.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so if they went to school at 8:30, then if then it would have been 11:30 on the East Coast. So you know what I'm trying to say?
Was it
Like, it
3 hours
doesn't match
difference or
up. It's
two
such a
hours,
difference.
maybe?
Yeah, it's like three. I think it's a 3 hour difference from the East Coast to out to Colorado. Pretty sure it's 3 hours. It's either two or
But
three.
Colorado aren't going to be using Sandy's time. They're going to take the phone call time that it came into the actual station or whatever, or
Exactly.
them.
Right.
None of it
That's
adds
right.
up. That's
So
what
it
they're
doesn't,
finding.
that's the, right. That's what we're just trying to
I
say
don't think
is
they
it
will
just does
ever
not
do
add.
this again. I don't, because what it is Patricia. What did you find out about Patrick Frazee today? Well, you were telling me, Patricia.
Oh, the because he's going to trial, but they're not going to film it. There's no audio. All there is just someone that goes in and reports it,
Oh,
and
wow.
they're not even going to be a sketch artist.
But you know why that is, don't you? Because they're other people playing the parts, and the people are starting to notice that they
Exactly.
can't. So
Yes.
they can't, can they? This is probably why they've been holding off on that case, because people like me and you and Patricia and whoever it is on our channel, everybody, they're starting to notice. And I
Yep.
mean, I've got another video which I'm going to put that out. I don't know, tomorrow or the next day. I've actually done it, and in
Mm-hmm.
that one, I can see a few people in there.
Well, I bet. Yeah. I'm sure, but that is very interesting. They're not even going to have sketch artists. I've never heard of that in
Because
my
the people are
life.
waking up and are seeing it, and they've got to cover it up.
Yes,
So there
but
they were. We saw everything on the Watts case. Well, we thought we did. Let's put it that way, because we didn't, did we? But they're making it look like they're showing us all this, and we get to the Patrick Frazee case, and there won't be anything. That's because the people are waking up and realizing that things are really wrong.
exactly. That's right. But yeah, I don't know that they should even like when it became legal to put cameras into courtrooms because they didn't want that for the longest time. It was with that O.J. Simpson trial. The judge ruled they could have all that media coverage because it used to be all they did. But I'm surprised they won't even let them have a sketch artist because you almost had to have that, like, because they had to show some kind of thing from what's going on. So I'm
Yeah,
really
there you go. Then
surprised.
nothing. There's going to be nothing for the Patrick Frazee case. So it's the
I
complete
was
opposite.
So yes, so then it's going back to where they're maybe withholding too much information. Because see, the thing is we have the Freedom of Information Act, but you have to request the information, and like we didn't. None of us requested all that stuff they put out for us, all that masses of information from the Watts case, but so you should at least be able to request that information from the Frazee case. But I bet now they'll clam up like they've done in other cases, and they probably will clam up and won't give people anything at all. So what did they do? Make an experiment or something with this Watts case to see if people could
What we
catch
could see.
on? Yeah, because how about the one thing where Frank and Sandy wrote those letters, and then they signed it and they spelled their last name wrong, their own last name, they didn't spell it correctly, and then the
Not just
date,
one of them, both of them.
both of them, and then the date was 2028, not 2018, and
And
that was date
also in that
stamped.
video that I put out, I hope people realise that you're looking at Shanann with blue and greeny eyes, and she didn't. She had brown eyes. So who's that person in the video then?
That's right. I
Because you can't
know.
change someone's eyes like that. And I've
Exactly.
got her, when I slowed it down in past videos, I've shown people that she's got like crystal clear blue eyes, and she
I
can't help. She's
know.
got brown eyes, so it can't be her.
That's right. It can. It's impossible.
I know. So what are they doing to us? Anyway, we've been going for 34 minutes. We just wanted to obviously put out the bit of information that Patricia can't find anything that adds up. You'll be lucky if you get your information. And
Yes,
so when we think we live in this society that's all full of technology and information, it's not.
exactly. And what is out there, I believe, is just to deceive the people. What they are given is in the world of technology is just for deception.
Mm.
That's what I see it as.
Anyway, do you want to say a few words while we're ending? I know you haven't been on that long, Amy, but Patricia, I'll go with Patricia. Patricia, do you want to say anything to what we were just talking about?
I think I've pretty much said everything, but it's just I don't know. I mean, the Patrick Frazee one. If we got any photos, suddenly these photos appeared of him in court or whatever, because I don't know. Be like, well, how come there was no? I'm not saying they would, but they always come up, don't they? Like, oh, this is. Are we actually going to believe it anyway? Because
Well, Crime Watch Daily are going to be very upset because they won't be able to make a little program about it.
That's right. Yeah, I
it's
think
just weird how.
Go on, Patricia. Let Patricia finish and then you carry on, Amy. Go on, Patricia, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say it's very weird how this high-profile case, when it comes to the actual trial, there's nothing. We're not going to see anything. I don't know if there's any discovery reports because I haven't looked into that particular case. I've just heard about it. Just gets
Anyway, there
more
was something
weird.
very weird that Patricia found that Jodi Arias was called Jodi Alexandra. I mean, that's like, what?
Oh,
So,
I know.
It's all crazy. But anyway, Amy, what about you then? What do you want to say?
Oh, just that I don't know what they did about this Watts case, but they gave us this masses of information and people checked into it, or a lot of people did, and we've just seen that nothing adds up. And so I don't know if it was like an experiment to see if people would catch on to the mistakes and how everything doesn't add up. But as Patricia was saying now, they won't give the information about the Patrick Frazee thing. And probably a lot of us don't even believe in it anymore because we've had our eyes opened up through the Swats case that they fake everything, that everything is so fake and we don't even know what to believe anymore. So, I still don't know what the reason why they did all of this, but it's going to take away, for those of us who are
I
awake,
don't
we
think we've
won't believe it.
realised how much the media, or through the media, that things were being run.
Yes,
And now a
that's
lot of us are
right.
waking up and realising it. And in fact, when I speak to people, they go, well, I don't watch the television. I don't watch the television. So, they're just I don't know what they're trying to do. But on the internet, everybody's running to YouTube for information. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Like, what are they going to do now? Not show us any of the cases?
Exactly. That's right. Well,
This is all
YouTube,
bizarre. This is so bizarre. But I think what it is we're just breaking into the matrix and understanding that we live in a matrix, and the matrix,
absolutely.
that is how
Yes,
they're controlling us, through the matrix. But it just made me think, Amy, that if there isn't all this database, if there's not all these connections, there is probably, do you know what I mean? They say that there's government and they're ruling us and there's armies and all that. It obviously doesn't really exist the way it is.
I agree. I
Just doing
agree
it to
with
make it
that.
look like there's this great big force that's on top of us, but there isn't.
Exactly. That is an excellent point. I agree.
It's just trying to control the people in another way. And
Absolutely.
I mean, to
Mind
give us so
control.
much about the Watts case, and then to say they're not going to give us anything about the Patrick Frazee, how different and pathetic is that? How can you go from one to the other, like, so differently?
I know, that's right. That is very
Maybe
crazy.
it's through channels like Unscrambled, who are unscrambling it all with some of the people.
Exactly, that's right. You have unscrambled it. I love
And
it.
we're still in a mess, but at least we know that it's not true. And it's a bit shocking, isn't it? And I mean, obviously Amy believed a lot more in the system because that's what we're told, and then you've hit
Yes,
Unscrambled and it's changed your mind on everything, hasn't it?
that's right. It has. I know.
Mhm.
It really has. Yeah, and now
Anyway,
I'm questioning everything.
we've been going for 40 minutes. I might even premiere it now because it's 40 minutes long. That's long enough to premiere. But thank you. So just for the recording, we'll say goodbye, yeah? And obviously watch this space. We'll be updating, and just to let everybody know that we hadn't forgotten, because Patricia bought... Oh, Amy, as you're there, Patricia wants to cancel it, by the way. Is there anybody you want her to look up?
Oh, gosh.
On Truth Finder.
on
Yes,
Truth
proceed.
Finder. Well, you've done Shanann, and have you done
Family.
Frank and Sandy?
Yeah,
Wow,
I've done all.
what about Nicole Atkinson? Have you done her? Because I feel like she has a lot of something to do with a lot of this. If you,
Oh, by the way, very quickly, Amy, as you're there, did you see that video you said when Deeter was up for adoption in
yes,
2008? When you actually listen to
yes,
the person, it sounds like Tammy.
yes, I know.
Oh my
I,
God, that's Tammy talking.
I know. And did that lady wind up adopting him, that heavyset lady that they show? Because, like, how did she end up with Shanann and them? If that big lady was adopting him. But I knew that voice was familiar, but I didn't pick it up
Just to
as
explain
Tammy
to
till you
people,
said it, but
Amy
then I
found a
heard it.
little video which showed the adoption of Deeter in 2008. They talk about his weight, like he's 10 pound and that, but the person who is on the camera talking to the woman who's adopting the dog sounds just like Tammy. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. What I'll do is, Amy, I'll probably put the link that you gave me in the Hangout on the description so that people can go and listen to it for themselves.
Oh,
Here, they're
great.
actually listening to Tammy.
Oh my God, what a web.
I
What a web of
know.
lies.
Anyway, ladies, just for the recording, we're going to end now, but we'll say goodbye to each
Okay.
other afterwards. But ladies, thank you so much. Mwah.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank you,
Patricia.
Cameron.
Oh,
Thank you,
Oh no,
love
Amy.
you,
thank
Karen.
you.
Love you, Patricia.
Oh, love you,
Have
Amy.
a
Love you,
love
Patricia.
you
Yeah,
too.
love you, Amy.
Love you, Patricia.
Anyway, just for
Love
the
you,
recording, I'm going
Karen.
to stop now. So everybody, watch
Okay.
this space. Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye
Love
bye,
you all.
everyone. Love you all.